A geosynchronization service is deployed by a data provider and sits between the provider's WFSs and data collectors. It allows data collectors to submit new data or make modifications to existing data without directly affecting the provider's WFS until validation has been applied, thus ensuring that the data published by the provider is of high quality. In this presentation, we will demonstrate a web-based geosynchronization client accessing a geosynchronization server. First, we shall assume the role of the data collector, who may be an external party wishing to publish data to a data provider's WFS. The data collector logs into the client. He is authenticated and his role as a collector is verified. The GSS presents a base map onto which the data collector can overlay WMS layers for context and WFS feature types that are to be modified. In this instance, the data collector is interested in registering damaged buildings, and so the damaged buildings WMS layer and the damaged buildings WFS feature type are added to the map. Looking at the layer panel, we see that the WMS layer is active while the WFS feature type is deactivated. This is because the GSS client has built-in scale rules so that the WFS is accessed only when the collector has zoomed into the map a bit further. So, using the GSS client's navigation tools, the data collector zooms into the AOI near the airport of Port-au-Prince. As you can see, the WMS layer is now deactivated and the WFS feature type is active. Selecting the damaged buildings feature type, the collector can use the drawing tools of the GSS client to identify a damaged building by drawing its footprint. The collector can also provide values for the non-geometric properties of the feature. When the collector has finished entering or modifying data, the GSS client presents the collector with a dialog box that allows him to submit this data as a change proposal to the change feed of the GSS server. We now switch roles from that of the data collector to a data reviewer or data integrator. The role of the data integrator is to monitor the GSS server's change feed and assess each proposed change based on criteria established by the data provider. If the data satisfies those criteria, the data reviewer accepts the proposed change. Otherwise, it is rejected. Using the feed tool of the GSS client, the reviewer can see all proposed changes. In this case, we are accessing a filtered feed or topic that filters the GSS server's change feed and contains all entries within the vicinity of Port-au-Prince. The entries are ordered most recent first and are color-coded. No color means that the proposed change has not been reviewed. Red means that the proposed change has been reviewed and has been rejected, while green means that the proposed change has been reviewed and has been accepted. The first entry in the list is the change proposed by our data collector. Clicking on it causes the GSS client to switch context to the proposed change so that the reviewer can view the proposed geometry and non-geometric properties of the feature. At this point, the reviewer decides whether to accept or reject the proposed change. In this case, we will accept it. The GSS client presents the reviewer with a dialog box allowing him to enter a comment for the data collector. Submitting the comment to the GSS server causes the server to submit the change to the WFS and send a notification to the data collector letting him know that his proposed change has been acted upon. Logging back in as the data collector, and using the GSS client's feed tool, the data collector can determine the disposition of his proposed change. Since the entry is colored green, we know that the proposed change has been accepted, and clicking on it switches context to the proposed change. The collector can also see any comments made by the reviewer by hitting the See the Response button. In this case, we see that the reviewer has scheduled the building for demolition. At this point, the complete Propose, Review, Accept or Reject cycle between the data collector and the data reviewer has been completed.